Hello? How's it going, everyone? Can you let me know if you guys can hear me? I just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay. Just type if you can hear me, I guess. 41 concurrent viewers. That's pretty good for a middle of a school day. I guess thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I don't hear anyone saying anything, so we'll see. I think the delay is like a few seconds, so I'll give it a minute. Okay, perfect. Okay, people are saying they can hear me. All right, so how's it going, everyone? Obviously, I'm Steve. I'm here with a pretty big content drop, to be honest. It's a big deal. Everything's kind of dropping all at once. So the beta, assuming from what Mega has told me, will be out hopefully today. And I know we have been saying that for like 2 days, so I'm sorry for that. But yeah, quite a few issues have come up, but hopefully it's okay. So I'm not going to be reading the chat that much. I will be asking questions. I'll be saying, or I'll let you guys ask questions once I go through certain things. Questions about abilities, questions about whatever, and we'll go through it from top to bottom. What you're seeing on screen right now is the Godly Donator document. This is the Google Doc that all Godly Donators have access to. They will continue to have access to it, and we will update it with DLC elements. So no one else is really going to have this unless you're a Godly Donator. But as the beta comes out, we understand things are going to branch out to the public. We want to make sure people can talk about it, right? Our Godly Donators and our Legendary Donators are going to be playing on the server. They'll be having a good time. They're going to want to talk to the free-to-play players or the self-proclaimed normies that you guys call yourselves. So this is just to make sure everyone can kind of talk about most things. There's going to be certain rules and restrictions about recording and streaming in the beta, but we'll get to that when we get to that. This is just to smooth it over and just to make sure everyone has a pretty good idea of what's going on, maybe help educate you better on what you're going to pick. Some of our legendary donators here are going to be in the beta test, but they actually don't have this document. This is a Godly document privilege, so they don't have it. This is probably their first time seeing it as well. A lot of this stuff has already been leaked, as you're seeing on screen right now. This says Disciple of Voltra. Oh, Nathan Boito, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate that. But as you can see, we've already gone through this. Everyone knows what the electric origins are. I'll go through them really quickly in case you have no idea what I'm talking about. But I believe you can do exclamation point Sparker and exclamation point Electro. Maybe they don't work. We'll see. But I think you can check my channel for those videos, and those videos have already been up in detail, and you can take a look at them when you see them. So we are going to. People are saying zoom in. You want me to zoom in a bit? Okay, I could do that. That's probably too much. We'll go here. Is that okay? Hopefully that's all right. Okay, it looks like Nightbot is able to send those links, so that's probably good. So we're going to go through disclaimers right before we get into this. All right, so the abilities are subject to change, right? Nothing here is set in stone. The abilities can change if we feel like it needs a revamp, or the ability's just not doing what we want it to do. Abilities can change. I believe Mega has already changed 2 abilities on this document that everyone else sees and knows about, and I don't even know what they are. I think there's some attribute with the fire ultimate ability that's been changed. Whatever, abilities can change. That's a disclaimer. The second disclaimer is numbers can change. As you can see here, if we take a look at the Electrocutionist, we can see that Zap costs 6 hunger bars to use. From what we've seen and what we're going to collect, the data we're going to collect in playtesting, we're going to see that this number might have to be decreased. We're going to see that this maybe should not be 6, it should be 2. Like, numbers can change, things can get buffed. That leaves me to my last disclaimer, is balance changes are something that's going to happen, right? We're going to see that some origins are subjectively and objectively weaker than others, and that's something we have to take into consideration and something we have to adjust as time goes on. We want to make sure every origin and all the elements are very, they're balanced. Everyone, you might really enjoy nature, but what happens if nature's really bad and no one wants to play nature? Catlord, thanks for subscribing on YouTube. I appreciate that. Anyway, as I said, balance changes are something that's going to happen. So you might see something here that, and then when you get on and when you're able to play, it's a little different. Please keep that in mind, that things are subject to change. Okay, so let's get started. I think people were saying that they don't want me to really go over the electric stuff because that might be a waste of time. But I guess we can use this as a good legend here. Green usually means good, all right? The legend for this Google Doc is green means good. Yellow means it's good, but it has a downside to it. So, for example, lightning speed, you're much faster with lighter or golden armor, but you are slower with heavier armor. So it has a good side, but a bad side. Orange is kind of like middle, like it's nothing, like static charge, electric energy surrounds you. It's just a particle effect, doesn't really impact anything. And yeah, orange is just basically, that's what it is. It is what it is. It's not really a positive or a negative. It's just how the origin kind of operates. So can I get a 1 in the chat if you'd like me to go over the electric element and the 2 electric origins, and a 2 if you just like me to go straight to the next one. That should give me a pretty good estimation of what I should do here. I'm very positive a lot of you here understand and know what those things do, so really it's up to you. I'm gonna have a drink of water, 1 second. Two, lots of 2s. Okay, so we're moving on then. Well, if you guys want to know what the electric origin is, you can check out my channel. Lots of videos up already. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the first one here, Disciple of Magmite. And I don't know if this has been leaked. I may be mistaken if it is, because I've definitely leaked little bits all around, but here it is. These are the common traits. If you're not familiar with what a common trait is, it means it affects both the origins. This is the traits of the element, and it's not really the trait of a specific origin. It's every origin has these traits. So the Disciple of Magmite, a distant descendant of the god Magmite, the lord of fire, lava, and war. With a fraction of his almighty glory, you will bring your foes to the knees, or they will become one with the flame. So we're going to look at the common traits. Fire immunity, obviously pretty staple in most fire stuff. Lava swimmer, you can swim much faster and see much clearer underwater. Hot hands, I think there was an issue with this one. I'm not sure if we're going to be going through with that one. So this is something that might not be there once the data pack is out. That might be changed. And obviously orange means it's kind of nothing. It's just you have a particle effect of fire. Hydrophobia, take damage from water and rain. You also take additional damage from water attacks, water abilities, splash potions, potions of water, and snowballs. So basically, yeah. Hot body, anything below diamond level armor falls right off your body, including elytras. You can't wear most early game armors, and we're looking at making armored elytras work from better end, because those have like steel in there, reinforced. So there you go. People are saying I already leaked it, so I'll just go right by. Pyromancer. I don't know if I've leaked this one yet, but who knows? I'll just pretend I haven't. So Pyromancer is the first fire origin. This is obviously a Pyromancer, throws fire. Ender Gamma, thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate that. So the Pyromancer origin, the description is you spew fire and flames in the name of your lord Magmite. You deal incredibly high amounts of damage while still having decent survivability. So the first trait of the Pyromancer is you're frail. You're like a fire mage, so you're going to have a little less hearts and you can't use shields. Your first ability, and if you're not familiar with Stevorium, these things in brackets here are what you have to do to get this ability. They're like quests, so you evolve over time, you have to get all this stuff, and you slowly evolve. So I see Mega just said in the chat, hot hands is impossible for a data pack, so I have to get that modded in. It's not a big deal. If it's not there, it's not there. It was just something to add flavor to it. It's not really a good or bad ability, so it's probably best to just leave it out for now. So hot-blooded, due to your hot body, venoms burn up, making you immune to poison and hunger status effects. If you are familiar with the regular Origins mod, you know that this is something pretty much in the Origins mod. Like, this is nothing really new. Fuel for fire. Make a coal block. So once you make a coal block, you get this ability. Being near fire, lava, or being ignited gives you saturation. So you're fueling for fire. So you are basically, yeah. Being near fire gives you a lot of saturation. You're basically never going to run out of hunger. If you're in the nether, you don't need food, basically. Fireball, shoot a fireball at your enemies. This is the same as the wyvern fireball, so it does. I've already done a video on the wyvern. There's lots of mechanics and stuff like that. So if you don't know what the wyvern fireball does, you can take a look at that video, but I'm not really going to explain it right now. Cleansing flames make blaze powder. Being ignited gives you speed 1 and regeneration. So now the Pyromancer, when you're ignited, not only do you get saturation, but you get speed 1 and regeneration. Inferno, this is their ultimate ability, and you unlock this by killing the Ender Dragon. Ignite all enemies around you in an 8-block radius. This includes yourself, enemies, and allies, and it's pretty long cooldown. Obviously, this will change, this can change, but that is the ultimate ability of the Pyromancer. And I'm sure you can guess it, being ignited is very, very helpful for the fire element. All of them really benefit from being on fire. So this acts as an attack towards people that are not on fire, and it acts as a support ability for allies that, you know, benefit from being on fire. So if you team up with a bunch of fire guys and your Pyromancers, igniting yourself constantly in battle, and the next origin, which I'm going to show, which is the Magma Guardian, the tank, it's a huge bonus. You can keep your health up, you can keep your speed up, you get a lot of bonuses. Inferno might be a cube in the release, not a radius. Yeah, that's no problem. I figured some stuff would change, but that's pretty close. Yeah. All right. We'll go to the next one, and then we'll ask some questions. So this is the Magma Guardian. I don't know if I've leaked the whole thing, but this is the big one. This is a tank fire origin. So they're very strong. They're a little slower, but they are, they're big dudes. So the description is forged from the lava lakes of the Nether, you are created to serve as the front line for Magmite's armies. With incredible defensive capabilities, the Magma Guardians are incredibly difficult to take down. So the first thing they have, which is a negative, is bulky. You are extremely durable, which we're going to get to because you're very strong, but you are slower and you're weaker with most melee weapons. Swords and axes do significantly less damage to make up for your tankiness. Magma Skin, kill any entity. Could be a player, could be a chicken, it could be a hostile, doesn't matter. Sorry, I had to mute my mic, I had to burp for a second. So, even without wearing armor, your skin provides natural protection. Enemies who attack you in melee ignite themselves, and that's on a 30-second cooldown. So, a very protective ability, not necessarily aggressive, but it's pretty nice. Hot-blooded, obviously we already know what hot-blooded is. That's something we saw from up here in the Pyromancer. You can't be poisoned, and you don't get, what's the hunger thing called? I forget what, is it just called a hunger status effect? I thought it was called something else, whatever. The next one, Fuel for Fire. We already know what that does. That's another core ability of the Pyromancer. Being near fire or being near lava gives you saturation. Obsidian Defense. Slow down the magma around you to become much more solid. You ignite yourself and gain resistance, absorption, regeneration, but hunger and slowness too for 20 seconds. So this is a very tank ability. You get super strong and super tanky, but you basically can't move. You're just there, you're tanking hits for your team. So that was the idea behind that ability. And the ultimate ability, which is the spawn of Magmite. Ignite yourself. Again, as you can see, a lot of this revolves around igniting yourself. Ignite yourself and get strength for 15 seconds. Spawn 3 blazes, which will attack any nearby enemies. The blazes do not drop items, and it has a pretty long cooldown, 3 minutes to probably 4 minutes. Okay, I will answer some questions now on the fire element. I see one says, is the document going to be shared, or at least the info on it? Yeah, we're going to release, one of our helpers made a special document, so that's going to be released. It's not specifically this one, but you're going to get the information on a different Google Doc courtesy of one of our helpers. Shouldn't hot-blooded be a common trait? There's some things that are considered common and some things that aren't. We only do 2. Hot-blooded is, yeah, it could be considered one, but that's a repeating effect in most of the origins we have, but not really. It's just basically trying to fill out the kit, make it feel like you're evolving. It's more of like a feel thing. Although you are correct in that this could be a common trait, it's not. Doesn't hunger do nothing though? Yeah, that's something so as the person is talking about this, but hunger, I believe, or the intention of this is it bypasses. So you will get very hungry. Yeah, I see a lot of people saying that. So the hunger, you'd have to ask Mega how this is coded. The idea is it's hunger. If the hunger doesn't work or that doesn't function the way we want to, we might do like blindness or something in the place. Do water bottles / potions damage them? Yes, that is a common trait. We already went over that. It's called hydrophobia. Splash water potions and potions of water and snowballs. So yes, we already went over that. Does drinking any type of potion damage them? No, that's not what that means. It means it's a splash potion it means water. It's splash potions and potions of water. So throwing this slash means it includes both of them. It's not two different things. Splash potions of water, potions of water. So if you drink a potion of water or just a water bottle for some reason, you will take damage. It subtracts. Okay, so what this does, Mega just said, our developer, it just takes away your hunger. It just takes away a bunch of your hunger. It's not necessarily the hunger effect. You just lose a lot of your hunger. Do blazes attack hostile mobs? I believe so. I believe you'd have to check with Mega, but I think blazes are just neutral to all fire. I believe blazes are just neutral to both the Pyromancer and the Magma Guardian. It could just be the Magma Guardian, but I don't think blazes are going to attack anything around you. Now, if you put a blaze down and there's a chicken, I don't know if blazes naturally attack chickens. I don't think they do, so that probably wouldn't happen. Hold on, I gotta open up the door. Will you be able to change origins? Yep, that's the Orb of Origin, and it's craftable, so that's something you can do, or you can donate and you can change origin pretty much at any time. Okay, I already see an Among Us reference in a comment. I'm not answering that. Red. Well, my favorite color is red, so does that make me that? Okay, I think I'm not really getting any more questions. I'm not really getting any more questions about this, so I think we can move on, unless I'll wait like 2 more minutes in case someone's typing out a big question. I see Sin said, so it's like the electric element where it takes food bars. Yeah, that's correct. So this would just take your food bars like a bunch. How to craft it? You have to join the Discord. Yeah. You have to join the Discord. It's part of Mega's custom mod. So no one else really has that. It's for our server specifically. So yeah. Obsidian skin plus being on fire plus speed 2. Where are you getting speed from? That's not a thing. There's nothing here for speed, so that's not right. Does the fire element get set on fire? By that I mean, does the fire thing show up on screen? I don't know what that means. Sorry, I don't know how to answer that. Will Magma Guardians be able to use shields? Yes, yeah, I think so. They're a tank, so it makes sense. Aren't the cooldowns too high? I don't think so. No. I mean, if you want low cooldowns, you go for the electric element. Their whole thing is low cooldowns. This 180, I don't even think is the highest. There's higher cooldowns than that. The electric origin is supposed to be fast and quick, and their cooldowns are low. So everyone else, if you think this is high, I think almost all the other ultimate abilities are like that. That's just how it works. Can you show the crafting recipe real quick? No, you have to join the Discord. I don't even have that up, so I'm not going to show that. Will the Pyromancer have a dot or not? I mean, they throw fireballs, so yes. No, like the potion, you can drink speed when you have obsidian skin. I mean, you're slowed by 2, so it just makes you normal, and it's a 3-minute cooldown, or sorry, a 2-minute cooldown. And I actually don't know if these can be overridden. Like if you drink milk, I don't know if these go away. I think they stick with you. Does Obsidian Defense stack with a Turtle Potion? I don't know. You guys are asking a lot of like coding specific questions. I can't really answer that. I don't know how the interactions work. I haven't even been able to play the data pack. I can't answer that. Can I make Project Icarus, aka Bioshock? I don't know what that means, but no. I guess you wouldn't be able to do that on the server. I don't know what that means, though. I'm going to move on. I think a lot of people are just talking about random stuff now. Okay, let's look at Disciple of Aquata. So, a distant descendant of the goddess Aquata, the Lady of Water, Clarity, and Strength, roam the oceans with your school and search for lost cities of your ancestor. Aquata preaches of clarity, but also strength. Defend your lands with the power of the tides and the strength of the current. So, these are the common traits. A lot of this, I didn't write it down because you should know what it is, and I guess, yeah, like, I don't really want to... So, like, wet eyes, same as the Merling, that means you can see better underwater. Like water means you don't sink underwater, same as the Merling. And obviously this is you can mine the same speed underwater and on land. That's, yeah. Aquata's gift, spawn with the sacred weapon of your god, the Trident, not given to players on death, just the first time spawn. So that's really important, really important. You spawn with a Trident, because Tridents are pretty hard to find normally, and all aquatic origins, when they spawn, they get a Trident. Exactly the way, think of like how Explorer works, the Origin class Explorer, when you spawn with Compass and Maps. This is exactly how it works. So you spawn with it, if you lose it, you lose it. It doesn't stay with you. So you get one when you spawn in. The Trident is your natural weapon, and you are considerably weaker with swords and axes. So you're using a Trident. Your skin is tinted bluish green. Conduction, electric attacks do more damage to you, similarly to being struck by lightning. So being struck by lightning and electric attacks, which usually consist of striking people with lightning, do way more damage to you. Wet hands, your hands are slimy and wet, making it difficult to hold a shield upright, and you can't seem to nook an arrow. Slippery skin. Due to your slippery skin, you need to make sure all your armor fits right. If your armor is not all one material, iron, diamond, netherite, etc., you are debuffed with slowness 2 and mining fatigue. So make sure you're wearing all iron, or all diamond, or all netherite. If you're wearing different pieces, your skin is slippery and you're debuffed. So it's not too bad. You can work around this pretty easily, but that's the idea. It's because you're like a fish. You got slippery skin. So let's look at Submerged. This is the pure underwater, not even pure, it's the underwater warrior. The right hand of Aquata. The Submerged serve loyally for hundreds of years deep underneath the ocean. Although you can hold your breath on land for a short period, your prowess comes from the ocean and water itself. You are the fastest and strongest underwater without question. So their downside is you're much weaker compared to other land dwellers. So you have weakness, slowness, and hunger when you're on land if you're just walking around doing something. The first ability, Aquatic Resolve, you have to kill a drowned. You do more damage when wet. That's a very common ability. I think actually some of the electric origins have something similar to this where you do more damage when you're just wet. Fins, craft a boat. You have learned the ways of the sea and can swim much faster than normal. So this is like the Merling swim speed. It might even be faster. So that's what this does. Water lungs. While you're underwater, you can begin to store breathable oxygen. This resource begins to deplete once you're out of water. So this is my note. I don't know if the number is exactly like this, but it holds up to 2 minutes worth of oxygen before you begin to deplete your natural breath bubbles. So you know how you leave water, you get your breath bubbles? You actually have 2 minutes and then those breath bubbles. So that's how that one works. Water pulse. So you have to kill a guardian. Blast a violent water pulse at nearby enemies, knocking them back. This ability can only be used in water and has a 20-second cooldown. And their ultimate ability, which is called Aqua Rush, you have to get that by killing the Ender Dragon. Rush forward underwater with extreme speeds. Additionally, you gain Strength 2 and regeneration for 15 seconds. and it has a pretty short cooldown. So it's a very short cooldown for an ultimate ability. It might be the fastest in the game, but you just buff yourself, you go super quick. That's what their deal is. So they're very fast, they're very strong, they're mobile attackers. So that's the idea for the Submerged. All right, let's take a look at the Terra Hydrant, which I think a lot of people are thinking of playing because it's basically the jack of all trades. Terra Hydrant origin description. Your ancestors began to move from the water to form the front lines of Aquata's army and protect the land around her cities. You are capable of surviving on land and equally underwater. However, this means you're not exactly proficient in either. So this doesn't necessarily mean you can craft either. Sorry, you can... it doesn't necessarily mean you're very strong on land. It just means you're kind of middle ground. You're kind of medium at everything. Aquatic trade. You are not as fast as your fellow disciples of Aquata underwater due to not being able to survive on the land. So you get no fins, no Aquatic Resolve. The only bonus you get to keep is Aquata's Gift, which means you get to spawn with a Trident. So you don't get to see... Or sorry, you do get to see okay underwater. You don't get the extra damage, and you don't get extra speed. Evolved Gills. You can breathe perfectly on land and underwater. Their first ability is called Slimy Hide, which you get by killing a drowned. Even without wearing armor, your skin provides natural protection. Your skin is incredibly moist and cannot be ignited. However, your skin can dry out in hotter biomes, making you weaker, fatigued, hungry, and slower. So you still take damage from lava just like normal. If you leave it, you just don't burn. Strong legs, you have to collect a lily pad. Training your powerful swimming legs to walk on land has granted you the ability to never take fall damage. And the reason for this ability is because of this one, Heroic Leap. You have to kill a guardian as well, but you get to propel yourself forward a decent distance on land or underwater. If you guys were on the old server, you'll remember the Frogling, and this is pretty much exactly what the Frogling ability did. It let you go very quick underwater, or you could shoot yourself on land. And their ultimate ability is called Master of None. You have to kill the Ender Dragon, obviously. You gain 2 more maximum hearts. Shields, bows, swords, and axes no longer have any disadvantages, but they also have no extra bonuses. So you basically get 2 extra maximum hearts, and you can basically use any tools you want. So again, not necessarily strong. Actually, probably one of the weaker ultimates, but that's just because this is kind of the do whatever you want. It's pretty good in the Nether, except for... Actually, no, it's not. But this part makes it not that great in the Nether. But it's the best you're going to get as a water origin to be going in the Nether. You're just going to be slower. Okay, I'm going to answer some questions based on the water origins now. That could be either the Submerged origin or the Terra Hydrant, or if you have a question about the common traits up here. You said previously that you're getting rid of all villages. Is having any type of trading area with villagers not allowed, or are you just making it so we have to turn a zombie villager? That's correct. The very last thing you said is correct. All natural villagers are killed. Villages still exist, but there's no villagers in them. If you want a villager, you're going to have to turn a zombie villager. Steve5 watches Atsu over. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is, sorry. Minicraft says, so it just gets rid of most debuffs? Yeah, I assume if you're talking about the Terra Hydrant ultimate, yeah, it gets rid of most debuffs. It makes them basically, what's the term? Yeah, jack of all trades. Like, you really could do anything you want. This is the most flexible origin we have on the whole server. What is Like Water? That is a Merling ability. That's something from the base game Origins, and Like Water makes it so you don't sink or float when you're in water. So it just makes it's like you're in creative mode underwater. Would you ever consider adding an ability to one of the water origins that lets them give dolphins grace to themselves or people nearby? I mean, we've already made them, so probably not. Wear the Guardian Monument, or is it an impossible goal? There's like 25 Guardian Monuments in the server, and we're going to make sure that their loot is, or they fill up, at least with mobs. Could you be allowed to use a crossbow, or is it an arrow ban? I don't think crossbows work. I believe it's bows, and crossbows don't work. Also shields. For the Submerged, I assume you're talking about. You can't knock an arrow, which means you can't... Your fins, you can't put an arrow. You can't put an arrow in a crossbow. The Terra Hydrant is just a superhuman? Yeah, that's the goal. The goal is just to make a better human, very flexible, do whatever you want. Some debuffs, some buffs. Does the Elytra count for a debuff? So you get... Yes, it does. The Elytra is a different type of armor. You will receive the debuff by wearing the Elytra. I think the Slippy Skin Elytra should be part of leather armor set because it's basically leather from dragon turned into wings. That's interesting. Something to think about if people think that that's a good balance change. If it's really annoying, we could think about putting that in. I never even thought about that, but that's a good point. Zombie villagers are so rare, it's gonna make trading halls painful to set up. Yeah, that's the goal. The goal is to trade with players, not with villagers. We want to make it as hard as possible. That is absolutely correct. What about a preloaded crossbow? That's a good question. I don't know. You'd have to ask Mega. I would assume it would... Actually, no. I would assume the coding doesn't let you shoot them. So I would assume it wouldn't work. I don't know, though. That's a coding question. So is the Terra Hydrant a base standard for balance? Not necessarily. I would actually say the Terra Hydrant is weaker than most because it doesn't excel anywhere. Gamer Pixel, Steve, you're awesome. Thank you. Will Aetherium plated Elytra work with Aetherium armor? I have no idea. I don't know. Are the Death Origins going to be released this stream? No, not even close. We haven't even released the original Origins. We're not the data pack's not even done, so no, that's not going to be for a while. How many armor points does the Terra Hydrant get without armor? 2. It's the same. Yes, 2 armor. Okay, I think I'm going to move on here. Or I guess, can I get a 1 in the chat if you want me to stay on the Water Origins, and a 2 if you want me to move on to Arbori, which is the nature god, and I believe the last one on our list. Okay, Mega just answered, Aetherium Elytra works with Aetherium. There you go, there's your answer. $60 people watching, really? Nice. That's a lot of people. I'm surprised. It's the middle of a school day. This is the only time I was free, and I really want to make sure I have a lot of free time for when the data pack launches and stuff like that. Okay, there's mostly 2s. I see 3 1s, so we'll move on. We'll go to Arbori. Here we go. This is the one people have been talking about. They've wanted to talk about. I think I've leaked the least amount, and it's Arbori. So Arbori is the nature god, a distant descendant of the god Arbori, the being of nature, earth, and solstice. Solace. Arbori is not like most plants, male or female. It's Arbori is an asexual kind of being, if that makes sense, because most nature things can reproduce with themselves, drop seeds and stuff like that. So a lot of people call Arbori he. I suppose that's like, it's incorrect, but it makes sense, I guess, like, because Arbori is kind of, it sounds like a masculine name. If that's something you care about, that's why it says being. It's not like lord or lady. Your strength comes from your roots deep within the natural strength and the beauty of the earth. I'm losing my tongue here. I've been speaking too much. Okay. So common traits, photosynthesis, which is similar to the Florin power, which just basically means when you're standing in the sunlight, you are saturated. Oh yes, non-binary, no gender, asexual. That's what I would categorize it at. That's correct. Friends of the forest, it's easier to tame/breed animals, and they don't try to run from you unless they're attacked. Bark of Arbori. You take more damage from axes, but less damage from swords and arrows. Your skin is tinted greenish-brown, so as I said, yellow is kind of a positive and a negative. Swords do a good amount less to you, but axes do a lot more. So, like chopping down a tree, stuff like that. Earthly inhabitant, you have no lungs, and you can't store oxygen, and you also can't swim very well. So basically, if you're a tree or a plant and you get thrown in water, you're going to sink. You're not really going to be able to breathe that well. So you can't really, it's earthly inhabitant, all right? Stay on the earth, stay with nature, that's your goal. Flammable, which is the same as the Florin power, which I think makes you take double damage from flames or being ignited. And Nectivore, which is similar to the Florin, which means you can, if you're like mining or something like that and you don't have access to the sun, you can drink honey bottles for food. That's the idea. All right, the first origin, the Treant. All right, so the Treants are the direct descendants of Arbori. From acorns to saplings to full trees, you have seen many wars and catastrophes. Use your wisdom and gift of nature to protect those you trust, and use that same power to exact punishment on all those who would threaten them. So the Treants are big, slow, hard hitters, tanky. They're like what you would consider like a bruiser if you play League of Legends. Like that's the goal of the Treant. Very strong, tall. You're 1 block taller. Knockback resistance, all that stuff. So prone to toxin, like most plants, you're additionally prone to poisons, which means you take extra damage from poisons. The poison effect does double the damage. Immense roots, you are 1 block taller, so you're 3 blocks tall. You have knockback resistance, and you can reach slightly further, but you are much slower in hotter biomes. You have slowness 2 in the overworld hot biomes, which is like desert, mesa, and you also have slowness in the nether. Some people were saying you had slowness in the end. I don't know where they got that from. The end is cold, to my knowledge. Like, it's very cold. Like, that's the temperature. So no. But that's the downside of immense roots. Cleanse. So once you drink a bottle of honey, you unlock the ability Cleanse. If you're exposed to sunlight, you may cleanse all negative effects from yourself. You also get regeneration for 10 seconds. The idea for this is you can cleanse poison and flame. And like if you're on fire, you just press this ability, like you're back to normal. And you get regeneration, so you can make up for some of that HP lost. Very simple, tanky kind of support, self regeneration ability. Osmosis, collect a bucket of water. Rain, water, or water attacks give the treant strength and regeneration, but also slowness. So if you're in water, you're in rain, or you're hit by a water attack, like, let's take a look, like water pulse, something like that would actually trigger osmosis. So you get strength and regeneration, but you're going to get slowness. So it's kind of a counter. Obviously, nature kind of, in, elemental, whatever, it's absorbs water and gets stronger from water. Strangle Thorn, so you collect vines. Attack an enemy with a vicious whip of vine, dealing 6 damage. Again, I'm not sure if this damage is entirely accurate. Could be changed. And throwing them into the air and knocking them away from you. From what I've seen, this bit is pretty, from what Mega has said, like it's you throw them and then they get the thing where they just keep rising up in the air and then they fall down. So they take damage and then they're thrown up and they take even more fall damage. Floral power. When near flowers or floralings, you constantly regenerate. And without skipping ahead too much, the next origin is the Floraling. So when you're near flowers or floralings, you constantly regenerate, and that's the Treant. So they kind of feed off each other. And then the ultimate is heat treated. Your bark becomes heat treated. You get 2 maximum hearts. Also, when you first are in contact with fire or lava, you get fire resistance for 15 seconds, and that has a 60-second cooldown. So the first time someone does a fire attack to you, or you accidentally fall in lava, you get fire resistance for 15 seconds, collect yourself, move to a new position, you're good. So it's kind of like a get-out-of-jail-free card. That's the ultimate. Tanky, survivability, that's what that is. Let's see if anyone has any questions about this origin before we move on to the Floraling, which is the last one we'll be covering today. Does Cleanse work on immense roots? I don't think so. So like this, for example, is a permanent effect. Like Flame and Poison is not permanent. So it cleanses not permanent. Coding-wise, it may cleanse this for like 1 second, but then they're just going to be put right back on. So you might be able to get rid of it for a second or half a second, but those are permanent, whereas this is meant to cleanse, not permanent stuff. Treants are screwed in water. Yep. So that's actually kind of what I liked about the design of them, is you really can't swim, you can't go underwater, but if underwater origins try and come up and attack you, you'll be able to resist them by a lot. They'll actually be healing you. Like, they have to kill you with weapons. They can't kill you with, and they also, you take extra damage from axes. You don't take, so you resist, swords and tridents and stuff like that. So it's kind of a counter to the underwater stuff. For Earthly Inhabitant, how does swimming work? No diving? Again, that's a coding question. I'm not too sure. I haven't been able to play it, so I can't really answer that. I would assume you can barely swim. Like, you can kind of hover. It would be very, very slow. I don't think you sink like a rock. That would just not be fun. So I do believe you can swim. It's just very, very poorly. Strangle Thorns would be less effective on Submerged. They don't take fall damage. That's Terra Hydrant, but yes, your point is correct. If you fling a Terra Hydrant, which is these guys right here, they don't take fall damage. So they take the initial damage, they don't take the fall damage. Yes, that's correct. Will the nature origins be able to gain saturation underground at night without the honey in bottle? It's going to be hard to get honey early game. Yeah, that's the point. Also, you can be near flowers. These are very symbiotic origins, so they're very strong with each other. You're right. It is going to be hard to get honey early game. This is a very strong origin. Can you imagine how strong this would be without these abilities? Like, yes, that's the goal. This is kind of a late game, very strong origin for basically anything. It's surprisingly fire as well. Basically anything water. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. I don't think there's too many comments. Okay, let's move on to the Floraling. So this is the last origin that we're going over today, the Floraling. The Floralings were created by Arbori to be the Treant's smaller cousins and helpers. While the Treants have their heads high in the sky, your head is more focused on the smaller things in life. So the Floralings are flowers. You are 0.75 blocks tall, so you're much shorter than you're shorter than 1 block tall, so you're pretty short. You are additionally prone to wither. Flowers, withering, it's kind of like a joke. You're additionally prone to the wither effect, so you take way more damage from wither, and being on fire slows and blinds you. Tiny roots. You are 0.75 blocks tall. You have a shorter reach and 3 less hearts. You take no kinetic damage and can scale flat surfaces. So similar to Inchling. It's basically Inchling right here. 3 less hearts, no kinetic damage, which means no fall damage, no elytra damage, stuff like that. And you can also scale flat surfaces. I see Mega's adjusting the numbers right now. See what I said at the beginning of how numbers can change? There's a IRL example of it happening right in front of you. Dig. So this is craft an iron shovel. You can burrow and dig through grass and any other dirt type blocks. So it's like the Phantomize ability. If you ever played the Phantom before, you know how they can move through blocks. The Floralings can burrow, and they can kind of do that through grass and dirt. So you can go through a layer just like a Phantom can, and maybe your base is under some dirt. That's the idea anyway. Okay. Osmosis, we've already gone over Osmosis. The Treant had this as well. It makes it so rain, water, and water attacks give them strength and regeneration, but also slowness. Tree power. So this is the opposite of floral power. Well, kind of. When near treants or saplings, you constantly regenerate. So when, as I said, it's a symbiotic relationship. So the Floralings get strong when treants are around, and the treants get strong when Floralings are around. So they're a very strong combination to work together. Plant palette. You have to craft bone meal. You can now consume bone meal and sugar to feed yourself. Bone meal gives strength for 5 seconds, and sugar gives you speed for 5 seconds. The effects do not stack, and they both give 2 bars of hunger. So some people were asking about honey, like being underground and stuff like that. If that's something you plan on doing, you don't really plan on PvPing and like being like tanky and strong, probably don't go for Treant. You can go for Floraling, because these guys can consume bone meal and sugar. We've had some comments about maybe making the Treant be able to consume bone meal. If that's something we feel that needs to be made for a balance change, that's something we can do. But we need to look at it first, because I feel like the Treant is very strong. It's very hard to take down one of these guys. So not having the bone meal, just being able to eat the honey, that's something we're looking at. So balance changes can always happen, but that's just my thoughts. And their ultimate, Prickly Skin, you always have the Thorn enchantment. That means you reflect some damage back at your enemies. You take no damage from thorns or any other prickly entity. So that could be like berry bushes, cactuses, stuff like that. Your thorns poison the next enemy that hits you for 5 seconds, and that's a 10-second cooldown. You are immune to the poison status effect. So kind of high damage over time. Like they have dots here. So they're very small. They have 3 less hearts, but they can reflect a lot of damage back and debuff and run away and a bunch of stuff like that. So that's the idea behind the Floraling ultimate ability. After you kill the Ender Dragon as a little Floraling, you get this. So that's the end. That's the end of the document right there. I guess if you guys have any questions before I log off, it's kind of a longer stream than I was hoping for, but we've averaged pretty much around 60 viewers the entire time, which is crazy. So thank you for tuning in. I guess actually I'd be interested to see. Type in the chat which origin seems most interesting to you. Are you interested in the Floraling, Submerged, Terra Hydrant, Magma Guardian? If it has anything just scream to you like, oh yeah, this is my play style. I really like, Pyromancer, damage over time, fire damage. That's my thing. I'd be interested to hear what you guys are saying. I put a vote out, and it looks like fire, slightly the most popular, with 123 votes. So people are liking the Pyromancer and the Magma Guardian. Terra Hydrant, Pyromancer. I'm glad the Floraling wasn't inchling sized or anything. Yeah, I did not like... The inchling was too small for me. So it was just too small. But yeah, I want to be able to play all these things eventually, and the inchling was a little too small. Wasn't there supposed to be a nature origin that could change size, or did that get changed? No, they both have 2 different sizes. The Floraling is small, and the Treant is tall. There was never an origin that could change size. That has never been in development, and that's never been thought of an ability. Also, do you plan on making the lore team? Yeah, that's low priority right now as we try and through beta testing. That'll probably be once everything releases. I was planning on Magma Guardian, but now I like Floraling and a Gremlin with such annoyance. I love it. Now I need to choose. Yeah, I like... I was actually thinking of making this ability a thorn, like a thorn in your side, which is a common phrase. Just like, something that's really annoying and it's just there bugging you all the time. I was thinking about making this a thorn in your side, but I felt like it was a little long, the title. So that was the thought. That's very annoying stuff. So, yeah. Would Floraling in the ground with dig still affect Treants? Would a Floraling in the... I don't know. It's a radius. So if you're close enough, then yes. If you're not, then no. I'm not saying that word Nicodium. Don't try and make me say it. Water used to be number 1. Now it's last. Yeah, the votes have changed a lot. Okay. Fire used to be number 1. Now it's last. Looks like water... sorry. Fire is not last. Nature's taking the lead right now. Honestly, thorn in your side fits better. Yeah, I know. I thought it was funny. Sometimes you have to... Sometimes too many words and it like... Yeah, I thought thorn in your side was funny too. Will this document be released to view on our own? As I said at the beginning of the stream, a helper, someone who is part of our server, decided to make it, and it looks way nicer than this. It's much better formatted. This is just me. Color. It looks messy, right? They took it. They made it much nicer. That will be released to the public. In fact, I'll probably release it a few minutes after the stream ends. I love the Terra Hydrant Ultimate. I always find multiple abilities annoying to just use them all, and the only one for Terra Hydrant being the leap is great. Good. I'm glad you liked it. Terra Hydrant, that's my goal. Simple, kind of underpowered, but very nice for the people who really like a basic kind of buffed human playstyle. Would the power of Prickly Skin double the amount of damage of the enchantment thorns? Excuse me, burped. I have no idea. I couldn't answer that if I even wanted to. I'm sorry, I have no idea. I would assume no, but that would be up to Mega to answer. What about prone to wither and flame? Isn't it longer? Yeah, that's true. It is longer. It's just straight to the point, though. A thorn in your side is slightly... It's less straightforward. Like prickly skin, you get the idea. Your skin, it's prickly. It hurts enemies that hit you. A thorn in your side is funny, but you might not be able to infer right off the bat. Whereas this, prone to wither and flame, very, very easy to understand. What is, in your opinion, the weakest element? Like the whole element? The weakest element right now is probably electric. This was the first one we made, so these ones weren't even made yet, and they kind of get a lot stronger and more useful. Like the electric origins, they can't use their abilities if they have a single block above their head. They need to have a clear sight to the sky. Doesn't work underground. Doesn't work under a single like leaf. Doesn't work in buildings. Doesn't work in the nether. Doesn't work in the end. Like the electric origins, you have to be in the overworld in like a plains biome with a very clear open. It's very, very, although they're strong, right? Like think about this, right? Fully saturate, fully heal yourself, and being able to basically kill anyone regardless. The Electrocutionist lightning does like true damage. It ignores stuff. So like these guys can kill anyone at basically... But they have to be open to the sky. So in my opinion, the electric element is probably the strongest PvP element, but you really have to pick your fights. You cannot go to the nether. You are just a regular person. In fact, probably weaker in the nether, to be honest. So that's probably what I would say. Wait, will thorns in your side break your armor? I don't. It breaks the enemy's armor. I don't think it would break yours. No. You have the permanent thorns enhancement. That's your player, not your armor. So no, it wouldn't even. I don't think it would touch your armor. It would touch the enemy's armor, not yours. It'd be cool if Floraling had the ability to change their thorn to wither, deals slightly less damage, but obscures the health bar. Yeah, maybe. I even think that. You poison an enemy, lasts for 5 seconds, 10-second cooldown might be too strong. We might have to nerf that to like every 30 seconds it can happen, but obviously lots of testing to do in the beta period, lots of time to see. Things will change, and we'll definitely make changes as we move on. Okay, well, I think I will end it here unless other people want to say anything. I'll wait another 2 minutes or so, but I do have to end the stream pretty soon because I do have to go somewhere. So if you guys have any more questions, I'll wait 2 minutes. If not, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everyone who stuck around. It was a long stream, but you now have all the information on all the origins. You can go nuts with them in the Discord, talk about it with other people. I came pretty late. Is there a doc I can read this real quick, or should I rewind the stream? I will release our helpers document. It's much nicer than this, looks way better, it's better formatted. So yes, I will release a document created by one of our volunteers on the server, and you can look at that. So don't worry. Wouldn't be accurate to real flowers though. Imagine getting pricked and withering away. Yeah, that's true. Pricked and poisoned, some flowers poison. Yeah, that's true. That is our ability is a little more accurate. What about nether walkways and nether builds? Nether is kind of different. There's a lot of different... Nether is kind of... You could kind of do whatever you want. It's the overworld where it's finite. There's only so much world. There's sort of only so much land in the overworld, and we expand over time. The nether has no world border. It's infinite. You can go wherever you want. So nether, you can kind of do what you want. Goodbye, Steve 5. You'll regret not saying sus. Okay, there you go. I just said it. Is the tint heavy for water skins? I'm sorry. I haven't play tested this. You'd have to ask Mega. I have no idea. It's probably a little, I would guess, a very slight tint. Will there be a free food giveaway at the start of the server so the origins with hunger can actually do something and set up a base? Nope. That was a big complaint we got on the last server, is people picked heavy PvP like phantoms, and they picked, like, sorry, not heavy PvP. They picked Phantoms because it's really strong and complained because there's no food. If you don't have food, that's your fault. You need to set up, play with friends. Donators will be on. They'll have loads of food. If you're on a team, you can get food from them. If you pick a very food or, like, an Origin that relies on a team and you're playing it solo just because it's strong, you will suffer. And that is the design. So that is, no, there's not going to be free food. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to end the stream. People are just talking about Among Us in the chat right now. Oh my god. All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I appreciate that. I will release the Google document that our helper made in the chat for all you guys to look at and read. This video should become a VOD in like an hour. It takes a while for YouTube to process everything, so stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for tuning in. 60 viewers on a school day is pretty crazy. So thank you so much. Have a good weekend, I guess, everyone. If you're a donator, I really hope we have the beta test open today and soon. But again, circumstances can change, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's out, though, and hopefully I can participate. Thank you guys so much. I will see you in the next video, because I will be doing videos on these Origins, by the way. Like, this Magmite, like, I'm going to be making videos just like normal. This isn't a substitute. This is just to let you guys know what to expect. Will there be a proper spawn, or will be placed in areas based on Origins? There's going to be a proper spawn. You're going to spawn in an area with lots of accessibility. Okay, thank you guys. You can ask me questions in the Discord if you want. I'll be there for a little bit, but I'm heading out.